a polka across the floor. We've been monogamous for 2 straight years, so it's playing on all of my favorite fears that the girl don't wanna dance with me no more. In fact, the girl says she never even wanted to dance with me. In fact, she says it makes her uncomfortable specifically. Don't matter if it's Zappa or good old Lou Reed, something inside her just ain't been freed, 'cause the girl says she never even wanted to dance with me. Yeah, the girl don't wanna inadvertently entertain all the people who will help me get famous, like I've been saying. Maybe I shouldn't be so upset, it's our only incompatibility as yet, but the girl says she don't want to inadvertently entertain. Pick it, Blake. Sometimes looks to me like she's in hell. The same could certainly be said of me as well. And although I've always tended to feel that our love's about all that's left of what's real, the girl don't wanna dance. The girl don't wanna dance with me no more.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was Beau Mansfield, singer, songwriter, musician from Norman, Oklahoma. And we're going to be playing his entire album, Beau Mansfield and Friends, right here at the Race Baker Show on 104.5 KVOY. That one was Girl Don't Wanna Dance. And if you're a fan of Americana, yacht rock, Frank Zappa, Billy Joel, Jackson Brown, you might want to stick around for the next hour and dig this album. It was released, I think, about 6 years ago, but I've just recently got turned on to it, and it's one of my favorite albums right now. So, without further ado, let's get right back into it with Beau Mansfield with Nearly Homeless, right here at the Race Baker Show on 104.5 KVOY.
Nearly homeless for weeks at a time, living on crumbs at the end of a dime. It's a sick way when every single day you wake up wondering if the New York God has something to say. Of course he didn't, he never talks. Though here you've got the Christian couples out on walks, going through campus and on through the town, a damn near wearing my resistance down.
Take my shit. I know I should put up with it. What can I do? You look so good when you get naked. Makes it alright. Makes it alright. Believe you, 'cause you're so fine. I know I'm only killing time, and you don't stop. Took my TV to the pawn shop, but I'd still like you. Doesn't matter what you do, I'd still like to This was supposed to be a pretty song, but I've been angry for so long, and I blame you. And every time I'm blue, I think of you, and I touch myself. And I touch myself. Once upon a time, there was a small boy. He had obviously been an infant before that, but needless to say, he could never remember any of that period of his life. And since memory, real, imagined, accurate, inaccurate, etc., was what formed the consciousness of this human being, and distinct memories only began for him around the age of 3.5, he basically considered himself to have been born into a complete mystery. His maternal grandfather had died about a year before he was born, and that was enough to obfuscate matters considerably. When the boy was small, he was the offspring of an artist and a hairstylist, a female artist and a male hairstylist. Come to think of it, he was an offspring of those two when he was an adult still. This would always be so. It was fairly unavoidable. Somewhere in this period of time, he met Aaron Copeland. Let's fast forward to after a few years of public school, most of which was a pain, but it had its enjoyable moments, legitimate and mischievous alike. When the boy started out being a really good student, but music was really his focus, the whole time. On the last day of elementary school, there was a talent show. The boy played Chopin's Minute Waltz and Debussy's Prelude from the Pour le Piano Suite. Since the kindergartners rose en masse, the boy's fellow fifth graders joined in. Standing ovation. For one single afternoon, the boy was popular. He had done what the others had been skeptical of from the beginning, but the others conceded. At least that's what it seemed like in retrospect. However, after one glorious afternoon, and mostly pleasant summer, the boy became a real victim. On the first day of middle school, for some 30 minutes before the first school bell rang, before they opened the doors of the building, the boy was targeted left and right. One older boy came over to him. He was hanging out with a couple of other guys. And sort of out of the blue, he said, loud enough for almost everyone around to be able to hear, pointing at our hero the whole time. And I quote, "That guy asked Vito to rubs." Now, our boy was pretty well sheltered from a lot of certain kinds of vulgarity, but he had to have been a complete idiot not to understand what the guy was saying. The weird part about it was that that very day that he'd had that triumph of the talent show, last day of 5th grade, he was going around talking to some folks, saying goodbye to teachers in their homeroom, things like that. And when he was in the science teacher's classroom, saying goodbye to people who were still hanging around for whatever reason or another, the teachers, the odd student or two, this boy, who was a year ahead of him and had been in middle school for that whole year, I guess he just happened to be riding by on his bicycle or something. He said hello to the teacher who greeted him by his nickname. He was one of those kids who had a nickname. And he was looking around while other people were congratulating our hero for his triumph at the piano. First thing of 6th grade, first thing this guy
comes and targets our hero. Now that was bad enough, and that guy had pretty much of a campaign against our hero for at least a full year. He and a couple other guys just randomly dogpiling our hero out on the so-called playground of the middle school, which was just this empty field. Not a single playground item or anything like that. So he started being afraid to go out there and everything, but really the most important thing about it was it wasn't so much what the boys were doing to him that got to him. It was what the girls were doing, because before the bell even rang, after this homophobic attack, which he just had to pretend like he didn't understand because he couldn't think of anything else to do in response. Here comes a girl who, with two of her friends that he'd never seen before, but he'd played with this girl when they were little kids. She says to him, completely sarcastically, "Oh, you're so sexy." And they laughed and ran off.
To a cyber cafe where the postmodern girls hang around all day with inscrutable bandanas tied around their heads and an issue with frappe. Let me sneak into a cocktail lounge where in my pockets I will scrounge for change or courage of an earlier era when I might have been said to be fairer. Will I give up entirely on women like the good ghost of old good men did? Or will what judgment hidden hid ever light the way? Let me the Cannikin clink indeed. When I'm at port I get what I need. Not Natalie Merchant nor hardly Sheryl Crow, but a pint of IPA. Kind of girl you want for your very own, but you know it'll never happen in this lifetime. This is the kind of girl you'd kiss for 4 months without trying to feel up in this lifetime. This is the kind of girl you don't even mind going to dumb movies with. But this is the kind of girl you wanna see if you could make it at the ice cream parlor. If there were an ice cream parlor in this lifetime, I'd go to a football game without even being a lesson. That's how hot this girl is to me.
Once upon a time, there was a human being with an irrelevant backstory. And when he was about 12, right before 7th grade or so, there was a girl who lived at the other end of the trailer park his dad and stepmom lived in. She was half Vietnamese or half Native American. He can't remember anymore these days, but it doesn't matter anyway. She was nice. That's what mattered. It didn't matter that she lived without her mom, who she said had been a whore at one time. She told him he spoke English really well, completely out of the norm at school, let alone the trailer park. For a girl not to think he was unattractive due to having decent grammar, or act like it anyway. Well, one thing led to another, and she started calling this boy on the phone, telling him about her crush on this other boy, who lived down the street from our protagonist's mom and grandmother, or around a couple of corners. Anyway, another thing led to another, and one afternoon while the boy was visiting his dad and stepmom, the kid rolled up from on back through the woods behind the trailer park on his dirt bike, which the kid let him ride. Our hero probably thought he'd remake his whole image with this girl if he took the dirt bike for a spin around the trailer park. Except when he got to the last turn, he realized he didn't know how to slow down. And while trying to use the handbrake, he ended up throttling faster. He knew he'd have to swerve into one of the trailer's driveways to avoid the girl and about 5 other kids playing in the middle of the street. So he did. He saw a huge tree branch at the end of the driveway he chose, which would have knocked his head off. So he wrecked the dirt bike into the side of the trailer. Walked away with a small puncture wound on his leg, which left a scar that, if you look really closely, you can still see on him today. But that doesn't matter. What matters is, all the other kids, including the one whose dirt bike had just been wrecked, were all in shock, and they acted, perhaps appropriately, like they cared whether our hero was alive. The girl went straight into the trailer she lived in without saying a word, and he never heard from her again. About 27 years later, but about 2 weeks before he was due to complete recording of his debut CD, she sent him a friend request on Facebook. And he's thinking, you gotta be f***ing kidding, God. Gonna go to a hooker, fast as you can blink. I'm tired of feeling this mashed up heart every time I try to think. I'm gonna do something about it right now, just as soon as I finish this drink. Gonna go to a hooker, I think it's just my style. I get sex, she gets money. Gonna make each other smile. I've been saving up for 5 years running, and I'm ready to spend a pile. Time on earth is done.
tell me that he already told you whatever I said, 'cause I already know he's such a good little spy, that double-crossing so-and-so. But listen, two bros out of the man club tonight. I'll say it again, two bros out of the man club tonight. Here comes Mr. SUV on his way to the 8:30 service. He almost ran over some widows and orphans. Too much coffee has made him nervous. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Big old mamas have all stayed home, and a few of the thin ones too. They don't have time to dress up for worship. They got too much work to do. Oh yeah, you know that they do. Men in golf wear talk on weeknights in a room off in the back about the latest Christian video on marriage that explains for them all of the things they lack. Up on the proverbial rack, in the youth rooms there's always the special kid who just never seems to quite fit in. The others tell him all about being Christian, but they don't know exactly where to begin. Oh no. Feel that ill wind commenceth to blow. How much of it is business? How much plain PR? Monday through Saturday you pray the congregation don't see the rust stains on your car. Oh no. Maybe I'm just a bitter old sinner who ain't getting enough good God. Everyday prayers are going unanswered. Seems a little odd. Big old mamas making me pancakes.
Never got to where you took the whole damn fair alive. Originally it was a spur to me to survive. You never held Brent Midland down, put a gun to his head and made himself eject. Archetypal example of how to never leave a stone unchecked. Some bad occasionally happen to you as well. Though of course you had it covered so's I couldn't really ever tell. Eventually, a few you seemed to suggest that you thought I had other things inside. My
dues are unpaid still, but you know they always will be till we all have died. These days even I can be a little taciturn. Looking back, I wish I'd had the courage to share when you offered to burn. I got fairies, witches, sluts, and Dupree pleading every single side of my case. That still doesn't keep me from wondering if I know my place. You weren't responsible for Katie Couric being on the nightly news. And when you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. There may yet come a day when we can all go play outside. And you might not throw my basketball over the neighbor's roof, killing my pride. It ain't your fault, I might very well have nothing to say. And I can't blame you if I don't think I'll ever properly sing Touch of Grey. Natural light is so cheap, you might almost say it's free. I suppose notwithstanding these clothes, you haven't quite been the death of me. Needless to say, gotta earn enough to cover
Doritos at the Korean store. Camel filters and donuts, all this and more at the Korean store. Beef jerky and bottle rockets at the Korean store. Papers and screens and skin magazines, all the things you can't get no more at the Korean store. Clientele looks so surreal at the Korean store. Freaky people late at night, strange sights, neon lights at the Korean store. Sun's coming up, I'm coming down at the Korean store. Guy behind the counter don't look like the one that was there before at the Korean store. What kind of woman gets married on game day? Seems a little controlling, that's all I'm trying to say. She wants to show that she makes all the decisions. She wants everyone to know it from the start. His friends want to tell him, but they don't have the nerve. Say no, their women won't like it if they try to stop it. What do you have to lose except for joy, freedom, half your stuff, and the respect of your peers? It's not too late. Think of the future. When you were a kid, was this how you saw things playing out? Once upon a time, there was a newly middle-aged guy who had a case of nerves over his, well, you know. Oh, no, not his orientation, but, you know, that other thing. You know what I mean. Although it could be easy to see how conflated that could be with being unsure of that as well. At least it seemed like that was the, I don't know, simple-minded viewpoint that was common down there where he was from.
Namely, that is, that if one is nervous as to, well, you know, how well one will do, because of any number of unknowable factors, that somehow means that one somehow wants to have sex with another guy. And it hurts for, again, any number of unknowable reasons. But top two that come leaping to mind are probably, one, that it makes things awkward, at least when you're a kid, as far as being just your good, kind, friendly self to the guys in your school who are gay. But more than that, probably. Two, it becomes a hornet's nest and a hamster wheel as far as dealing with girls goes. And so when 20, 23, 27, 30 years go by, and things are just weirdly the exact same as they were, then you end up the kind of newly middle-aged guy who really can wind up digging the living out of Security Joan. And it's that kind of guy who is continually haunted by discussions about the movie Aliens in his 11th grade journalism class with Lisa Simonelli. Was that her name? And the discussion was that we were talking about the draft somehow. And our hero was saying he didn't want to serve. Somehow he just didn't see the point of killing people. And somehow Lisa Simonelli made the analogy to the kind of butch lady character in Aliens who, like, you know, kicks major ass all over the place in that movie. And she says something like, well, I'd rather have, you know, somebody like her defending me than somebody like you. And our hero says, what makes you think I'd want to protect you? Why would I put my line on the life for any of you? Did anyone else agree with this guy? I don't think so. Because someone who believes as they do, never mind if they understand it, because who knows, they might, but they're not likely to really agree with Security Joan. They're not digging Joan, which of course is incomprehensible to me. Okay, I mean, screw the interior monologue, third person. This is me. This is Beau. And I remember 8th grade science discussion between Joe Meyer and me about Donald Fagen, and he says that Donald Fagen's a fag. And then 2 nights before graduating high school, I drank about 3 beers with Joe Meyer, Scott Vogel, and Hallie Zell, the lattermost of whom had imbibed probably 14 or 15 beers within about 6 hours, so threw up his hot dogs and beer while lying on the grass of Scott Vogel's parents' backyard while we laughed, asked for a beer to wash his mouth out while still lying down, and then ran for mayor after an interim of some 20 years that included a stint in the city council. But I'm just saying, this is this kind of place that is a weird place, because even though Hallie Zell did the right thing, he may be a Republican for all I care, but he voted in favor of proclaiming October 2010 Norman's Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender History Month. Didn't make him too popular with his particular ward's constituency, I can probably assure you that. He said, these are the people who are the last group in our society not to really have any proper protection. They're the minority that is most at risk. I'm not even one of those people, but I know what the right thing is, and I think Hal did too. For all I know, even Joe Meyer might like Donald Fagen now, but basically what I'm trying to get at here, this is a place where an awful lot of people really love people like Sarah Palin. This is the city that's just down the road from where Sally Kern, the most embarrassing national representative that we have, just, I can't even finish the sentence. Point is, Security Joan is lonely out here, and so am I.
I woke up just this morning, fell off the couch with my boots on, had laughed myself in the bathroom mirror, made me hungry, so I smoked a little breakfast from a bong. I got a woman likes to run her mouth. She's the boss of everything. When I ride off on the horse that I rode in on, she won't have nothing left to bitch about but the rain. All my friends are old and tired. They don't get out much these days. Since I've lost my loyal fan base, makes it hard to get a gig that pays. No, it's plain to see that all I'll ever be is working fast food. So baby, who cares? Really pretty baby, who cares? Don't even know how to start to know. They don't even have what they need to have. They don't even need what they need to need. But they love each other so much it makes them sick.
Wonderland you've been wandering
which just goes to show what it goes to show.
They're paying a price I don't have to pay. Into a conservative nightmare. Now they ain't in power at the moment, but they're still looking for to foment. And I'm starting to feel a little guilty about my relative life of crime. But if I can't live free, it's just another way of doing time. Oh no!
Takes a mighty big man to love a fat girl who's in need. You could get to heaven based on one heroic deed. Might seem like you're settling for second best or third, but for the price of a Diet Coke and a few kind words, you just might get laid. That's all I'm trying to say. Be a part of the solution. Some guys only like to smoke the very finest weed, but I'll smoke what I can get, disregard the seeds. 'Cause a friend with weed is a friend indeed. Don't look that gift horse in the mouth, don't be so picky. Lowered expectations are made out to be a crime, but high is high and that's good enough for me. You could spend your life making money, then one day they find you cold and dead and all alone, just like a hobo, and that ain't funny. But what made you think that you were special anyway? I know you'd probably say you don't much like the way that I've been living. That is, if there ever were any kind of reason to be giving me any attention. Don't know what it would be for. What would we talk about? I'd have to keep abreast of what's going on if you decide to bring up current events, current events, current events, current events. Thing is, right now, I'm a nobody. I'd be walking in LA, although I'm not sure I would mind, like to see what I can find. But some people are saying that's not realistic. I shouldn't up and fly just to say goodbye to whatever it is I have learned from the biz of this town I grew up in. You know, I'm not particularly a fan of American Idol. Never watch it, and I don't even own a TV. Although I did play for George Huff once in a while. Though what am I doing dropping names from that show to you? You're Ellen.
was a fan of yours before you got your sitcom. At least I thought you were a goofy-ass tomboy. And in New York, that was kind of refreshing. But then again, there was the puppy episode. And I don't mean the one where you spent $3,000 on a dog that got repossessed by some. Away from those kids you gave little Iggy to. I mean the other puppy episode. Me and my roommate, a woman 20 years older than me, who I knew from the office where we worked, stayed home and watched it together. And I'm not ashamed to admit that show brought us both to tears. I don't know whether you hate me for that, but here goes. And I felt like you were a friend of sorts that I could count on. Have a little fun today. Yeah, yeah. You know, I've been playing the organ for the past 8 years at the Christian Science Church, and some others too right here in Norman, Oklahoma. And sometimes I wonder what you think of what I do there, or how once upon a time I wrote a song that sounds like this. Sorry. I know you said it's not only what's on the inside, and I know you're probably right, probably right, probably right, probably right. I also know I'm getting completely sick and tired of trying to measure up to standards I don't understand. Probably just whining about the cruel ways of a superficial anti-intellectual world. But better a whiner than a player hater, so I'm told. So I should probably stick back a little. It's one thing when you did a sketch about talking to God. It's another when I'm singing a song about talking to you. Whatever the case, as far as all that is concerned, I catch clips of you on YouTube, and they bring me some lightness I might not otherwise have.
That was the genius of Beau Mansfield, right here at the Ray Baker Show on 104.5. And that was Beau's opus, Norman, which definitely is for fans of Frank Zappa and Harry Nilsson. That concludes the Ray Baker Show for this week, and I hope you'll tune in next time for more local music from Central Oklahoma on the Ray Baker Show right here at 104.5 KVOY.